And welcome to the 123. And I'm Frank, and today we are going to just discuss all narrative things. Didn't really have a format today, so just figured I would kind of shoot off the cuff. Obviously, tonight everybody wonders what is Tony's announcement going to be. If the upfronts are any indicator, we know that Collision has been announced, and we know that it is going to be it looks like a hard brand split um, of AEW, and it looks like it will mean the return of Thunder Rosa, Samoa Joe, Miro, and a lot of wrestlers that didn't get TV time, as well as wrestlers that ended up in feuds like Andrade Idolo and Thunder Rosa with Britt Baker, and I think Andrade had a fight with he's currently one of the pillars, and I drew a blank. I'll have to think on that one. Sammy Guevara. So, uh, in fact, basically, he's like told Tony, "I'm gonna punch him." Tony said, "Don't punch him. If you punch him, I have to send you home." So then Andrade punched him and ended up with a free vacation and money, which is crazy. The way that things are being run is kind of strange, and we don't know exactly if that's going to continue. One thing that would be good is if they are going to have a collision, if they are going to have a second brand, it would be a good idea if someone else was doing the booking, because as of right now, Tony is booking ROH. He's booking Dynamite, and he's booking Collision, as well as Rampage, which looks like it's going to be a small show now. So as to what his announcement could be, hard to say. Maybe he's straight out going to announce CM Punk. Maybe he's going to. Maybe they actually have the streaming put together. It's hard to say. It's weird because there's this announcement, but then everybody knows the upfronts. So if it's just about the upfronts and TV announcement, then that's going to be pretty much the same thing. It's not really going to be amazing. So basically, um, sorry, I had somebody message me in the middle of the show. Actually, I'm going to close that so it doesn't happen again. There we go. All right. And then looking at other aspects of that, we get some different. I guess we have to look at some other options, and I guess if you didn't have CM Punk, you didn't have streaming, you could have the announcement for some of the headliners on Wembley. But he did say something like it would shake the ground of wrestling. But he said that before, and it's ended up being like Christian Cage. I like Christian Cage, but I don't know that he shakes the ground of wrestling. So he does sometimes over exaggerate a little bit. Excuse me, I have a little bit of gas. I don't want to go and jump right on the card today, but let's look at. We could talk about some of the highlights of the week because I kind of remember most of them. Last Dynamite, we had the steel cage match, and I think we had the steel cage match last week. Did I miss something? I'm trying to think. No, that was the last match, the last show. We had the steel cage match between Omega um, and John Moxley, where we had Don Callis use a screwdriver and jam it into Omega's face, even though he is supposedly a father figure. So I don't know what that's about. I know that originally it looks like he was using the Blackpool Combat Club to get Ken to get Kenny focused. That was kind of the storyline that they were doing for a minute, but then it looked like they weren't going to do that, and then they did it anyway. Sometimes I'm just not exactly sure why they'll just decide to do something like that, but that's kind of what they did. And then we had some other matches. We did have the rules of the House of Black triple threat, which was really, I thought, was pretty fun. And the best friend stipulation of no witches, but the idea of no rope break and actually putting in no DQ, or I mean not no DQ, but disqualification was interesting because it actually made, because these are some really good wrestlers, which in spite of all of the Hollywood stuff, they are really good, because you have Buddy Matthews and you have Malachi Black, who are just really good. Brody King is just a beast, but the other two, as far as technicians and just they're very good. Also, you had Claudio versus Ray Phoenix, and that was a really good match as well. So there's some pretty good, I thought, tight matches. There were to think if there was any, like, I don't get the appeal of Orange Cassidy, and they book him like he's almost a John Cena or Roman Reigns, and yet he doesn't have the TNA title, or the TNT title, and he doesn't have he's never had the world title. But they do book him like he just can't be beat by anybody. So it seems like, if that's the way they're going, that the natural, unfortunately, I don't want it to happen. I don't want him to have the AEW world title, but because they keep booking him like that, it seems like that's where they're going to go. They haven't gone there yet. Thank goodness. And then but the Orange Punch, which is very much like the Superman Punch, and of course we had MJF do another great promo. It's really tight. I'm looking for. I think I would have liked to have seen each one of the pillars pair off before we saw a 4-way, and I think I would have even liked to have seen them talking about it, and then have build. Like, there's all these matches that they could have had, and this is where I disagree. I've been listening to Jim Cornette, who says that he just thinks it should have been Darby Allin. But I think that you could have had some. You could have had a couple bouts with Sammy and Jungle Boy, or Jungle Boy and Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy. Oh yeah, that is 3. I don't know what I was thinking. And have MJF have gone against some of them, but his thing has always been that you have to run a gauntlet to get to me. So he's been doing that for a while, but I feel like that's starting to get stale. So it might be an idea to not do that anymore. And that was pretty much AEW. Then we had um, then we had uh, after AEW. Then there was Rampage, which I've stopped watching Rampage because I have it on my DVR, but I honestly I don't watch it every week as much as I'd like to. And right now, the ratings seem to show that, and now it looks like Rampage is going to be the number 3 show. So I don't think that it's going to get as much viewership unless they tightened it up and made it like Dark. And I'll be honest, if it was like Dark but on TV, I think I would watch it. That would be really interesting if I could see, because Dark originally was just match after match after match, just real quick and dirty. And I actually thought that was a pretty good format without any of the promos and stuff, especially if you have a bunch of green wrestlers. I think that could be a pretty good program where you're just showcasing talent over and over, on TV. I think that'd be interesting because right now there's no Dark, so that might be a good way of doing it. But you could also, I guess, they're also using ROH as a proving ground, so that's a way to go about it. Also, um, SmackDown I have not seen yet, and we can look at the results real quick for SmackDown. I don't have anything to talk about with it, so you know what? I'm just gonna not talk about it. I think that just works better. We're gonna go on to Monday night because I did see Monday Night Raw, and yeah, I watched Monday Night Raw, and of course we didn't have the tournament this week, but we did have a couple matches that were interesting. Like we had Miz versus. That's weird. I'm trying to think. I know that Cody Rhodes came out and did a promo against Brock Lesnar, but Brock wasn't in the building after getting jumped and losing his opportunity shot at the what I'm going to call the secondary championship, the world championship. That's not the universal or undisputed championship that Roman has around his waist, or the 2 belts, which is very strange because if you have the 1 belt and it's like you can't get it off of him, to just I don't know, that belt is a very strange thing to me. I know a lot of people have gone on about it, but it just doesn't really make any sense because you have the 2 belts, they could be broken up. Obviously, it's like you have a goal and you're like, okay, but we're going to move the goalpost. And honestly, I think the only reason that you would have that they would be doing that is because the television programming is not happy about it. And it may show too because on the upfronts, they did not discuss the WWE, so that's a possibility. I'm trying to think who. Oh well, I know Xavier Woods went up against Dominic and lost, and Dominic won because of help from Rhea Ripley. We had the tag team champions going against Going one-on-one. Rodriguez versus Chelsea Green. And at the end of the match, we had a reappearance of Ronda Rousey and her tag team partner, Shayna Baszler. Then we had a match between, oh, that's right, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against the frickin' frack of what of frickin' frack of what's his of Gunther's group, and of course Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn won. And they confirmed that they would be going to Saudi Arabia to Night of Champions, which was a surprise. But one of the reasons, I guess, is because Syria is finally off of the Saudi Arabian enemies list or something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure why, but it's something along those lines. But I know personally, I still wouldn't want to go because they were detained in Saudi Arabia for a night. I think that's when NXT had to do a takeover of Raw because they couldn't get into the States as fast as they had planned because they were detained on the runway. And it was like over money or something like that. It was concerning though, and it is something that most wrestlers would be somewhat concerned about. It's like, am I going to make it out? That would be a big issue as far as I'm concerned. And then, oh, that's right. Miz went against Shinsuke Nakamura, and I believe Shinsuke beat the Miz. Then I think there was a talk show style thing that happened with Grayson Waller, and I don't remember who he had on. I think maybe it was. I don't remember it being someone that really struck my fancy. And Raw sometimes just kind of drones on, so I don't, if there's matches that I'm missing here, it's just the way it is, man. Tuesday we had NXT, and now we're back up to tonight. So let's look at the card tonight, and then you guys can all get your snacks and find out. And also, you can go where I'm going, which is I'm going to be going to watch my buddy Solar paint some miniatures on BID_P. And you can usually find him available at 3 o'clock, but he's been having some issues lately. So this week, I think he's going to restart, talk about that. And I'm going to check and see what we're doing for AEW Dynamite card. Tonight, which would be May 17th. Here we are on PW. We'll see. Hopefully that'll. So full match card we have. Yeah, so we have Ricky Starks versus Jay White, So we're finally getting Ricky Starks going against the Switchblade. Chris Jericho is going against Roderick Strong. Jack Perry versus Roosh, which seems random because I don't think I would have done that. And I don't know if that's going to be a squash or how they're going to do that. Don Callis is going to speak. Ruby Soho and Tony Storm and Saraya versus Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, and Hikaru Shida. That should be a pretty good match. But I think Chris Jericho versus Roderick Strong sounds good. Not sure why Sammy's speaking, and they don't even have the announcement on the list, which is interesting. And this looks like this is going to be different. And on here, I noticed right off the bat that Tony is talking smack, or not Tony, sorry. That the Torch is once again talking smack about CM Punk and saying they're not affiliated with AEW Collision per WB. This is new, something new, but I think this is just Meltzer talking. No, we're not going to do unique cultural tours. And oh, this is an assistant editor apparently. And see, he says show Wednesday morning during, yeah. So basically, it just says that they didn't mention him, which they didn't. But oh, then it's weird. It says that he wasn't involved, but then it says he was. So the article's kind of all over the place. So anyway, one thing I wanted to say about a brand split is it doesn't make any sense to me. If someone doesn't want to work with, if I have a mechanic shop and someone doesn't want to work with someone else, and that means that like I can get my body, I can get my paint, I can get my engine work, but Ralph, who does fabricating, won't work with the guy that does the engine, then I fire one of the two because I need to be able to complete my car. And so it's kind of a ridiculous idea that there's folks in AEW like, I don't want to work with him and I'm not going to work with him and you can't make me work with him. And it's like, cool, there's the door. The idea of creating another show of people that don't get along, just, I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe there's a greater idea. Also, is Tony hopefully going to finally, that's my hair. It's weird. My hair is blurring out in the background. I just noticed that. Is Tony going to, is he finally going to get someone else to do some booking? Because it's very difficult to, like, I would love to be a manager. I've thought about the idea of having a wrestling show, but I've always thought that if I did, I would book some of it. And to be honest, like when I started out, I would probably learn how to book, because if I had the money, then I would be doing, starting out with that. But I would try and get someone, like even if it was like a local fed or something like that, because I don't know anything about how to book something. I've heard this is how it goes, and I can armchair just like everybody else. But I would have hired someone easily by now. And if I had somehow had access to 3 different shows that I had to book, I would definitely have some other people doing the booking and figuring out the best matches. Because the best matches that happened in AEW, most of them happened early on, but it seems like sometimes they're grabbing for fumes and they don't really have some great ideas and they don't necessarily make sense. It's like, I don't know how, like Jungle Boy against somebody who he easily beats when he's in a beef with four other um, superior players on the scene makes sense. But Jungle Boy, or maybe Jungle Boy going for a shot at a lower title or something like that, that makes sense. But it doesn't really make sense that he just goes against and has like a long standing hard fight with someone who's not really as good, or not, or who is, going to be as good, so it's not going to show that he's better. It just seems like a squash match would be in order, or like I said, something that shows that, ooh, he's almost as good as this guy, but right now he's in a chase for the title. So it just seems like that would work. Or maybe just if you didn't have anything for him, I don't know. And then there's all of these wrestlers that aren't getting on TV that could definitely use the TV time if the match doesn't build up to your big event. And we all know in Double or Nothing they're going to have, is I think it's Double or Nothing. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's Double or Nothing, and then All Out, and then All In August. Last Double or Nothing was in February though, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. If you happen to know what the pay-per-view is, feel free to let me know. And also, if you want to support the channel, you can go on, besides giving us a subscription, or if you go, the way you can do a subscription here on Twitch is you can use your Prime and use that to subscribe here to the channel. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, then you can please like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. It helps us out. And if you really want to help out, then you can go on to tpublic.com/stores/gaming-fixx, and you can buy yourself a t-shirt or a mug. And we have curated products as well as all of the 123 products there, as well as the Gaming Fix Live stuff. And we really appreciate it. Anyway, go get your snacks and enjoy the show. Bye, everybody.